Welcome to the Wisdom Lifestyle Money Show. I'm your host, Scott Dillingham. Today, I'll be passing the mic over to Michael Citron, who's one of our mortgage agents, and he brought two of his investor-focused realtors on board to chat today. Enjoy the show.
All right. Hey, guys. This is Michael Citron from the Wisdom Lifestyle Money Show. I'm joined today from the Win Social Real Estate team. Milena Simsic and Clark Galley are here with me. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for having us, Mike.
Yeah, of course. So let's start out. You just started your own real estate team during basically a housing crash. How's it going so far? Good for you. You must have guts.
Thank you. Yeah, it's going well. I got Clark on my team and Gary as well, and they taught me almost everything I know about like being a realtor. So it's really cool to be working together, and we're close friends too. So it like we mesh really well together. Clark's the one like really killing it right now in terms of the sales at the moment, and but yeah, I mean it's going okay. Definitely not as big a boom as February and March. Like he could like throw a rock down the street and sell a house. But yeah, now it's a little bit harder, but it's something like every real estate team is going to have to go through eventually in the long term. So it's good we started on a rough patch. Now we can handle anything.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think you guys are going to do great. You guys are doing great right now during the slow time. So it's only going to pick up once it does come back up, and I feel like you guys are really going to kill it and be one of the top teams in the city soon,
Thank you.
You got some great people on your team, so I think it's going to be great.
Thank you.
This guy right here.
Yeah, this one, literally, he takes all the credit, and I don't know, rightfully so. I don't want to give him like too much of an ego boost, but yeah, he's pretty good. Like he's killing it, but yeah.
He's pretty good. He knows a thing or two about real estate, that's for sure.
A little bit, just a little.
And like I think like obviously the biggest because obviously our team's fairly new. Like I was on another team before you joined your team and it came to Milena's team.
Right.
I think the biggest thing that I was thinking about, or the biggest quote that kind of stuck with me, is like what worked to get you here is not going to work to get you there.
Right.
So like my past 2 years and everybody's past 2 years as a realtor, as a mortgage agent, like you had it pretty easy. Like you just got a lot of leads, made a lot of money for the past 2 years. Mm-hmm. But then now the next 2 years is going to be completely different. Whatever you did is not going to work, and you really have to change it up. Like look at your whole business, look at your leads, look how you do deals, like sell properties, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think, creating a new team in this environment is almost better because you don't have any experience for the easy times. You only have experience in the hard times. So now we're starting in the hard times, and if it works in the hard times, it's going to work, when it gets to good times again.
Absolutely.
I think that's like the biggest thing for me, at least for, creating this.
And for me, I'm more on like the social media side of things. Like back in February, March, my content was like super focused on getting sellers, and now it's like completely shifted to where like we want to get those buyers in right now. Yeah. Like listings are coming pretty easy. I had a couple listing appointments today, so that was like not a thing back in February, March. So like he said, like adapting to this new market, you definitely like buyers are king right now in Windsor, Ontario. Yeah.
Even on the mortgage side, like the refinance business is basically non-existent right now. So it's just like getting those buyers in, getting them pre-approved so that you guys can get more buyers out there too. It's the whole market has pivoted, so we have to pivot our businesses as well.
Even on that, I remember in like February, like it's probably like earlier this year, like late last year, I remember talking to you and like other mortgage agents I talked to, and I was just so curious. I'm like, can you tell me this month what percentage of your business was refis or new clients? And the number of refis tiptoed into more than half these mortgage agents' business. Yeah. And like that blew my mind. I was like, holy crap, like their business is doing refis, not buying new homes right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically free money, right? Because interest rates were so low.
Yeah.
Who's not going to refinance and pull that money out, right?
Yeah. It was just crazy that was like majority of your business, right? It was just like, it was like whole changing landscape. And now, I don't know, you probably still do a few refis, but imagine like not even close to the amount you were doing before.
Once in a while, like we still do refinances, but it's more like not for just like pulling money out. It's more like people are in bad situations. They got to pay off like taxes and stuff. They have like creditors coming after them, so it's more like distressed people that need to refinance and get that money out right now.
I had a few clients that, they didn't buy with me back then, but they bought in February, March, and they're like negative cash flowing sometimes like in the thousands. So it's quite crazy what's going on. And yeah, they're looking at like refinancing to try to like hold out this storm right now. Because if they were to sell, like compared to March, February for those larger buildings, they would lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even for the single family homes, like you could lose a couple hundred grand easy selling from February to now. So yeah, I've definitely noticed like some of our clients getting a lot of refis instead of listing their properties, which sometimes that is the best course of action. So
Yeah, well, I feel like that, like, we'll probably get into it kind of later on in the show here, but like there's a major discrepancy between like sellers and buyers right now. And the biggest thing is like, oh, like why aren't sellers coming down? Why aren't they coming down to match today's market? But like you said, like every single seller would rather refi lose $1,000-1,500 a month rather than lose 80 grand at once.
Right.
Like they would rather kind of prolong that hurt. That's a very, very small hurt than take like a massive loss like on one day. So I think that's like, we'll probably get into the standoff between buyers and sellers, but like that, what you mentioned, like that is happening and actively happening right now.
You know what? Like I was thinking about this earlier today. So the stats for Windsor, Ontario came out today, right? For like the average price. So we actually went up a little bit. We're at 543. So yeah, we've been going up the past couple months. And I was looking at the ratio between sales and listings. And back in like July, like the discrepancy was like 30% sales compared to the number of listings. So we were like at 1,500 and the sales was like at 400 or something like that. And right now, like the number of listings we're at is like 650 and the sales are in the 300. So we're around 50% right now. So half of the listings on market are selling the past month. So that's kind of interesting to see. So like what happened to all of those listings back then in July that didn't sell? They just pulled off the market and they're likely refinancing and just riding out the storm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to see because there's a lot of buyers kind of expecting everyone to get extremely desperate and sell at a 200K loss.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing it happening often, especially like with the listing appointments I've been at. Like I recommend refinancing and riding out the storm. And then, if you want to sell a little bit later when the market rebounds, but just ride it out for now instead of taking the 200K loss. So, but yeah, that's just something I noticed this morning. I was thinking about that.
Yeah, no, and like you brought up a good point too. Like people are just kind of waiting for the terms like blood in the streets, where like people like have to sell or they're going to go bankrupt. Like one of my clients, he's like a big private equity guy. He deals with like, I don't know, $100 million companies that he, his team will like acquire. And right now for the past 6 months, they've just been kind of sitting there, like collecting their cash and literally have a hit list of like 15 to 30 companies that like, okay, these companies like are pretty good, but they're like bleeding a little bit dry. As soon as they, can't pay their debt, then we'll go target these companies. Like the big private equity firms are waiting for blood in the streets. Real estate investors are waiting for blood in the streets, but like it just hasn't happened yet. I imagine everyone is waiting for it. It might happen. It might not. But yeah, like they're waiting for that and that just hasn't happened yet.
I wonder like how long it would take for the blood to be in the streets. Like how much more of a hike? Like I guess that's the big question. Like that's what everyone wants to know.
Yeah, I think we'll see it in 2023 probably. We'll see what happens with the next rate hike, December 7th. We'll see how big of a rate hike that's going to go up. And I think that's going to be like a good indication of what's to come in 2023 for sure.
But yeah, we had the 0.5% last month, right? People were expecting 0.75 closer to the date. But I remember like right after the September one, people were saying, oh, it's going to be very minor, like 0.25 or maybe nothing. And then we went up to the 0.5. Like the closer we got to the date, the higher the number started to go. So at least that's what I've been noticing in the news and keeping track of that. But yeah.
One thing that I've noticed on the mortgage side since that rate hike is like there's a little bit more like optimism in the air behind real estate. And people are like, oh, it's not as big as we thought. Maybe it's going to come back around. So I'm starting to see more people being like, okay, you know what, we're ready to get back in the market and maybe go look around for a house. So hopefully it continues and 2023 isn't too bad and the market starts to come back around. I think that the house prices coming up like a tiny bit is really good for the market in Windsor. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but for me, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think like I don't know. I obviously deal with like primarily investors. Probably like 80-90% of my business is investors.
Right.
And it is, their transactions are very, very minimal. I forget the exact date. It might have been like a week or 2 weeks ago, but I pulled data for 5-unit plus on market sales. And it was like 2 properties the past like 140, 150 days or something like that. And the duplexes for the past 90 days, it was like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 sales. Like it was like compared to like 30, 60 sales, like it was like probably 20% of what it was like earlier this year when you pull that same kind of data set, the same time frame.
Yeah.
So investors are not there, but end users that have to buy and sell properties, they're still there.
Yeah.
So those are the transactions that are still happening. The investors are definitely taking a back seat. So I think that's, probably a majority of the transactions are just those guys right now.
Yeah, like it's crazy to see too, because like there's so much cash flow and some of the properties are sitting on the market for a while right now. I'm like, why aren't these getting scooped up?
Right.
Yeah.
Some of these properties you can cash flow like $1,000 like a month almost, where before like properties were barely even cash flowing and they're getting like 20 offers on them. Like it's crazy. I'm surprised that a lot of investors are actually kind of taking that back seat. I think they are going to come back. They're just really waiting until we hit like rock bottom.
And it's funny too, because I saw this other quote where it's like, if everyone is waiting for blood in the streets, like, is that the good time when everyone jumps back into the market and then there's like 50, 100 buyers that just have like $1 million in their pockets, like ready to buy this stuff? Like, is that actually the good time? Like, it's hard, then like that's when all the buyers are going to be there. So it's hard to, it's a weird, it's
personally, I think right now is like a really good time to get in, because when everybody like does see that time, they're like, okay, yeah, let's buy now. It's going to be hard to get your offer accepted, It's going to be like 200K over asking all over again, and the market's going to go way back up, which is good, but it's also bad if you're wanting to get into the market and you're like a first-time home buyer that wants to get like a duplex or a triplex, and house hack. But yeah, I think it's going to be crazy to see what happens when all those people with the money on the sidelines jump back in.
Yeah, I think it's a good time if the seller is reasonable. I would agree with that. Yeah,
for sure.
It's hard. Like there are a lot of unreasonable sellers in the market right now. Like I've noticed, like they're still kind of in. I mean, not as much as before. Like summer, I feel like that was the worst time where we had like the 1,500 listings, but they were still expecting like February, March prices.
Right, yeah.
And right now, like people are starting to come around, but you still have like quite a bit of those listings that are waiting for those March prices. But yeah, it's right now I am definitely noticing a lot of people are waiting for blood in the streets. So I think right now is a really good opportunity to buy it. And I always say if the numbers make sense and you're cash flowing and you want to hold it long term, it's hard to go wrong there.
Right.
I recently got, I don't know if you saw this one, like a duplex. It was near Ford City. It was like in the developing part of it. A turnkey duplex, 96. She put 5% down and she was able to cash flow on a turnkey with 5% down. Like recently. Like I think that was last month. And that was like impossible to find in February, March. Like to cash flow on a turnkey. So yeah, definitely opportunities in the market right now.
Yeah, like I'm almost a little envious. I wish I had money to be buying houses right now.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm working on my flip and stuff. I got to sell that. But, if the market's still down when that's sold, maybe I'll jump back in. But yeah, like I'm kind of jealous of the people that are out there shopping right now for houses.
Yeah.
I felt
they're getting deals.
I felt the exact same. Earlier this year, I just pulled a few triggers. I was like, if I didn't pull one of those, like it would have been great.
Yeah, right.
But obviously, you set yourself up for the long term. So, thinking like that, it was fine. But yeah, a bit more cash. But that's the problem. Like there's either like crazy rich people that have a bunch of cash or, people that are bleeding every single month. Like it's like very hard to find that in between right now.
Yeah. So like with most of the investors that you work with, like I know that you do tiny homes. Like for most of your investments, are you looking for houses specifically that like you can build a tiny home on? Is that what most of your clients are looking for right now to get the extra return on investment?
I'd kind of say it depends on the investor. There's a few that I work with where they go after the double lot play.
Right.
Like probably one of my best clients, he's probably bought 6 tiny homes off me. We were just about to sign him up for a 7th. He will go after the property that has a double lot. You buy, that double lot, you sell the existing home or refinance the existing home, get the land basically free. And then you can go get money to build the tiny home products on there. The 3 units in Windsor were pretty lax with that to have those rules. It's amazing Windsor has that. So he goes and builds those 3 units on the vacant lot, refinance it afterwards. So that's probably like the active investors looking for tiny homes have that. It's either that category of people. The second category would be the people that already have the existing homes or it's already kind of paid off relatively well. Then they'll build the second one kind of in the back. Or the third one is they just build it for their like family. Like if they build it, like we have 2 clients where they want to build it for their grandmas because they don't want to send them to like retirement home and pay, I don't know, what is it, like $3-4 grand a month? Like some of these retirement homes, like it's absolutely
insane.
absurd.
Like some of them can go up to like 6,000 to 8,000. It's crazy.
It's absurd. So if you have the space for it and you can build a tiny home in the back, you can actually build equity, pay for on-site care, and have them in the back cheaper than it would be to go to that facility. And they're in your backyard. So that's probably the 3 kind of customer bases that we work with. The biggest thing as well with that as well, I'm not sure if you guys saw the Ford announcement. the like proposal
Huge
for
announcement, yeah.
crazy, like probably the craziest announcement like in my career so far. Just like absolutely wiping all red tape for municipalities and saying that any residential lot can be up to a triplex, which Windsor has already, but it's going to be announced throughout Ontario. Absolutely just like, yeah, killing development fees, doing the in-law suites, garden suites, no parking requirements, no size requirements. Like if that thing gets announced, like I think garden suites are just going to explode throughout Ontario. But it's still a proposal. But that's, yeah, just another kind of crazy to show where the world is going. It's probably towards that kind of stuff.
Okay. So let's dive into some detail on that proposal that Ford announced. So you can build up to 3 units on each lot if it's zoned residential.
Yep.
And then you can put how many ADUs on top of those 3 units? Can it be more than that? Or
the current proposal, Windsor already has these bylaws actually. For some reason, Windsor and Amherstburg, Toronto and Vancouver were one of like the few municipalities in all of Canada to actually have garden suite bylaws. I don't know why Windsor, not Amherstburg, made the cut, but they were.
That's so weird because we have like a really small population compared
I know.
to
It's
everywhere else.
It's like the most progressive policy for no reason. But like they, so yeah, Windsor had the bylaws where you could have the single family home, in-law suite in the basement, and then an in-law suite in the back. So that's like what it's classified as, and Windsor just had those bylaws. So those bylaws are going to be allowed Ontario-wide, is what he's allowing for. Windsor still has pretty annoying bylaws where there has to be a certain amount of parking spaces if you're actually going to do these. There has to be certain size restrictions if you're going to do them, like certain percent of lot coverage. Killing those 2 things, I think, is going to be huge because now you can do like 3 bedrooms in the back. You can do like 2 stories in the back, no parking requirements whatsoever. I think that's what's going to allow, it kind of cuts myself because it's like to build like a 1-bedroom house and to build a 2-bedroom house, it's like a bit more flooring and drywall. Like it's not that much more money to expand the house as opposed to it is to like do the foundation, do the roof, get the permits. So if you can build bigger and not have parking restrictions, I think that's what's going to allow, bigger homes to get built a lot.
Right,
other places.
for sure.
That's the biggest thing that is coming out, in my opinion.
Okay, so let's say that Ford's proposal goes through. What do you think is going to happen to the housing market and also the rental market with like rents and everything?
Yeah. So I mean, I think that like obviously when this announcement gets announced, like there's going to be an oversupply, or not an oversupply, just more supply of units coming up because every single family home can now legally split into 3 units. So let's say a subdivision, 50 homes, that could, hypothetically go to like 150. I don't think that's going to happen, but just that's what could happen. So obviously more supply, there's more options that renters get to choose from. And when they have more options, you got to decrease the prices to, actually get yours chosen.
Right.
That's what I would think would probably happen.
I think, more supply, lower rents, which would be ideal. But then Ontario has the super strict rent laws. And like you said before, there's like 100 other factors that'll go into play here. So with stricter rent laws, rents typically tend to go up because there's more risk for investors. And then we do have a lot of immigrants coming into Ontario specifically. And if we're talking about just Windsor, Ontario, we have thousands of people coming here for jobs because of development. We have the bridge here. We have the Stellantis plant. That's at least a couple thousand jobs there.
Right.
Mega hospital. So it's like, again, 100 other factors, and it depends like how fast people can build and all of that. But hopefully there's more supply because we definitely do need more supply.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy in Windsor.
Yeah. But
the other quick factor, actually, I just found this out. Property manager called me up and told me about it. Was I don't want to misquote it, but it was basically when you have new build apartments, anything I think is 2018 or 2019 or newer, they're not subject to the same rent controls that all the other properties are.
You're right, yeah.
So anytime it's a new build tiny home, that actually goes under the new build construction, as opposed to the single family home getting converted. It's actually a different bylaw.
Wait, I thought the basement ADUs as well, if you add on a new unit, they're not subject to that as well. I'm like 95%.
I don't know about that. I do know it's new development or new construction because she called me up and said, hey, those tiny homes specifically account for that. The in-law suite, I'm not 100% sure about in the basement.
I searched it up a few months ago. Like I was building that one and I was doing the annoying parking space for that. That was, inconvenient. But so I searched it up and like from what I remember, there is no rent control on basement units as well. So, but anyways, like the point of it is like no rent control, lower rents. If there's less strict laws on new supply here, then I mean, it would be beneficial for tenants for the rents to go a little bit lower. And also, like, it's a win-win, like, for investors as well. You don't have, you know, as much strict regulation there, and then the
Right.
tenants get more supply, better quality housing. Yeah, I know that's a controversial topic, but I mean, it just, like, look at California, you know, so it's just shown time and time again, the stricter the rent controls are, the worse quality for tenants. So it's it's interesting to see.
That is interesting. So, like, let's say I have a home that's built in like the 1950s. I convert the basement into an in-law suite. Legal. Didn't rent it out till after 2018. It's not under those rent control guidelines. I can raise the rent as much as I want.
I have to double check it, but I'm like 90% sure it's not, because I was building that like a few months back and read that, so it shouldn't be subject to rent control if you're adding on a new unit to an existing. So
Interesting.
yeah. So that it's a good project to go into. I think that was like one of the reasons I chose to do the basement. But I ended up converting that to an Airbnb because that's another interesting thing in Windsor. So but yeah, sorry to change.
No. Let's actually talk about Airbnb for a minute. So Airbnb, I'm hearing, is kind of, it's like almost like really saturated right now. So I'm seeing a lot of hosts are having trouble with vacancies and everything right now. There's just like, they're not getting any bookings because like everybody went out and got an Airbnb like the last like 5-8 years.
So at least the stats I was looking at, Windsor has the highest occupancy rate in all of Ontario at the moment at 67% for Airbnbs. There's a lot of people coming here for employment. So there are a lot of people looking to work here and cross-border. So Windsor Airbnb is actually getting more popular, but there was a bylaw that passed in August where they don't allow Airbnb except in your own personal residence. So the one I'm doing is in my personal residence. So that is going to decrease supply even more for Airbnb. So it's a good thing to go into if it's in your personal residence, but it's risky if it's not and you're renting it out as an investment property.
Right.
The city doesn't have like how do you say, like, enforcement for it? Yeah. The laws.
They need to figure that out because
Yeah,
there's still a lot of
exactly.
people that definitely do it that way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think occupancy will go higher with like the more and more people coming into Windsor the next couple of years for short-term work, and
sure.
the supply going lower. So,
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they just like cut the market in like half, if not more.
Right.
So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. I know there's like a lot of people that have gone out and like put a lot of money and effort into Airbnbs, and now it's just like they're coming and being like, nope, sorry, you can't do this anymore.
Right, exactly.
That sucks.
I think there's like I didn't read too much into it, or I can't remember, but there's like a 30-day rule or something. I'm sure there's some sort of loophole where you can still do a short-term rental, but it can't be under 30 days. Like it has to be multiple.
Yeah. I don't want to name names, but I know someone's like really in the city, really trying hard to figure the loopholes out for that.
Yeah, I don't want to name any names.
But yeah, it's definitely happening.
Yeah.
My other kind of hot take for Airbnbs is that I think a lot of people, for just like a regular Airbnb, like it's kind of annoying now. Like the cleaning fees, like how much stuff you actually have to like take care of the unit itself. That people are like really going back to like, oh, like a hotel is like the same price, if not cheaper, than sometimes an Airbnb. Sometimes hotels are actually worth it. I think Airbnbs really thrive when you have like a really unique product. Like this guy out in the States who is crazy. His business model with Airbnbs, basically he buys like 10, 15, 20 acre pieces of land, buys like mansions on them, and Airbnbs specifically to like huge like corporate events. So he'll have like a baseball field there for like bringing like a baseball team by, and he'll charge like a couple $100,000 for a couple days. But he can because he's like literally the only person that has that kind of specific product.
Right.
I think like if you're going, Airbnb is more of an experience, like cottages, that kind of like really, really nice penthouses, like stuff you can't experience other than the specific Airbnb unit. I think those will kill it no matter what the regulations come out. But yeah, the average kind of stuff, I think they have competition.
Another interesting form of, and like I recently found this out after doing like a few video and photo shoots, is that there's a demand in Windsor for like photo shoot locations, and people will rent out spaces. I forget what this platform's called, but they'll rent it out like Airbnb, but for 3 to 4 hours, and they can charge like $1,000 for those 3 to 4 hours. And nice location. Whereas if you were to rent that same place out on Airbnb, it would go like $500 a night or something like that.
Right.
So you imagine getting like multiple photo shoots in a day, and you
Mhm.
make your whole like like 2 weeks of Airbnb. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that just goes like uniqueness. Like you have to like really stand out, have a unique product. Then you're just gonna stand the like test of time.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. Yeah, because hotels have been kind of fighting back with Airbnb too. They're like, hey, like we have to compete with these. People do like staying in like more unique places, so let's make our hotels unique and people want to stay here. Plus, the Airbnb fee sometimes that host charge is like crazy, like $200 cleaning fee. I have to clean up, and then you're charging me a $200 fee. It's kind of like, man, like, you know. So
that goes in the pocket of the investor too. Like the Airbnb host only pays the 3% per the whole thing, but they keep the cleaning fees not included in that.
Right.
So it could be pretty lucrative.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like it can be inconvenient to guests sometimes.
Yeah. Like me and some family, we stayed in an Airbnb in Blue Mountain like 6 years ago. We scrubbed that place down for like 3 or 4 hours before we left. And then the host texted me and was like, you left the garbage by the front door and stuff. We tried to find like the garbage outside. We couldn't find it. So we're like, hey, let's leave it here. And she had a problem with that. I was like, I paid you a $200 cleaning fee. I'm sorry I couldn't find the garbage. Just take it to the garbage.
Right.
Yeah.
I paid $200 for this pretty much.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Yeah, I think people are just starting to catch on to that. Be
Yeah.
Like, this is annoying. Like, why are we doing that? But,
Right. Yeah. I do think that that's where Airbnb is going to thrive, though, is with the uniqueness and also the experiences that they can like package with those too, because they're into that whole experience side of things too, which is cool.
Yeah, one kind of final thing I thought, it would be good to hear both you guys kind of talks about is just kind of like how people are doing like social media in the next like 6 year and a half. Because obviously, Jordan Milena's team, she's killing it. Like obviously you're starting some stuff. Yeah, so like what is your guys' take on, real estate social media kind of the next, for your guys' career kind of moving forward?
Yeah. Like I'm no expert. I'm not good on social media. Maybe Lena can give me some tips or something later.
Yeah,
but,
probably.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely got to get on that TikTok grind and get more leads from, especially now during the downtime. I do want to focus more on social media just to get some business out of it. Like I really just post on like Instagram and that's it. I'm not good with social media.
Instagram is like the best conversion I found for clients. TikTok is like a wide net that catches people onto Instagram. But like to go back to your question about like where I'm like we're going. Did you say 6 years or 6 months?
6 months and then a year.
Okay, a year. Okay, I know he wants to know this personally because he's on my team. He's like, "What are you gonna do with me?"
Let's put it out in the public. Let's put a little accountability here. Come on.
But yeah, like I mean, if anybody's looking to get into social media, like I always give him this tip, like TikTok, great net to catch people, but you need to nurture people on Instagram, YouTube, and then get funnels in those areas to catch those leads. So I gave you like a lead yesterday from Instagram, pretty good lead. I get those leads either from my Instagram messages or they sign up for something like a newsletter. I have multiple resources on my stuff. I have the Windsor Price Guide newsletter that's coming out tomorrow. It's free for anyone who signs up. I have a real estate calculator and then a couple others I can't even remember. But that's that's like where I'm going with it. So like right now I'm focusing more on YouTube because people like that in-depth detail.
Right.
So the TikTok is doing okay. I'm catching people there and then they check out those other platforms. So YouTube is a big focus for me. Instagram's a big focus. Like for real estate, if you want clients, those two I think are the best. TikTok, if you want to get popular really quick, that's great. And that's kind of where I started when everybody else thought it was kind of stupid and they thought I was dancing on it or something. But people want,
Still do, yeah.
I still do. I make him dance on it.
We haven't posted it yet.
I can't wait to see that.
We can. Everybody can wait.
Gary's like killing to see that one. But yeah, TikTok's a great net. And a lot of businesses still haven't caught on to it. So definitely a train you want to jump on there. But next 6 months, definitely huge focus on YouTube and Instagram for me. Yeah,
that's what I've heard too. It's like the TikTok's like the funnel, and then you get it to like Instagram, YouTube, and then you get the emails and kind of connections from there and pull it out to make deals.
right, exactly.
That's kind of heard something pretty similar.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on the past 8 months.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of collabs too. I've noticed
Yeah,
that.
yeah, they come to you naturally, like this one here.
I guess,
it's
this is literally the collab.
yeah. It's just people start, like, word starts to go around, and then you start getting invited to things like the Andrew Hines one. Like, I've been on that one, and I'm sure you'll be on that one soon too. Like, you would be interested. Yeah. But yeah, it's the collabs help a lot. They do.
Awesome,
yeah, and you get to meet, like, so many good people there as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Clark, when are you gonna make your TikTok?
Yeah.
God, that's why I'm part of Milena's team, so I don't have to do that stuff. I love doing the deals. Just let me do the deals.
We did one TikTok video, and he won't let me post it, and I'm like, yeah, he's gonna get on it soon.
Okay.
Yeah, come on, we gotta post it.
We'll film a couple more, and from those we'll pick them.
Okay, we'll get comfortable. We'll ease it.
The first one, dancing is just not. I gotta like train a little bit more for that.
He was like,
okay, we don't have to reenact it. We don't have to.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? TikTok.
Social media.
Social media.
Like
Okay.
6 months to a year.
Yeah. No, I think, like, obviously I see the value of it, and I see, the power. Obviously being with the DT team, like, that just blew. He was probably in his prime. I think he was like the best social media agent, like, in Windsor. Like, hands on, I do think that. Just like the amount
he was
of
really big on YouTube.
the amount of leads that guy pulled in those 2 years off social media, like brand new leads, probably like the highest in Windsor. Like, I generally think that. So I think that is where, like, a lot of power is obviously driven by. Like, that's where a lot of leads are. I myself, I love doing deals. Like, I just don't love creating content. Like, I just don't like doing it. So obviously I gotta, join a team for myself. Kind of join a team that obviously makes up for that a lot where I lack it. Yeah, I see the value of it. I just haven't pushed myself to do it yet.
That's why I said, like, he's like killing the deals, and I'm bringing in the leads and, like, getting it to them over here. So it's a good, like, little trio we have right now. I know Gary, he's working on a listing right now, and the listing was my #1 TikTok fan. Like, she follows absolutely everything I do. Like, she would go on every single one of my lives, and she would, like, not even talk to Gary. Like, she has to talk. Yep. She's like, "Where's Milena?" Yeah. But no, it's good to get into social media. Like, that's where everything's heading. People are still, like, stuck on billboards and bus benches. You're not, like, you cannot get leads from that.
I'm so curious because I see them all over. Like, are those billboards actually getting any call-ins?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
I think
and it costs so much money.
I think it's good brand awareness.
Yeah.
Like, if you see that, like, Goran Todorovic, like, everyone just knows who he is in the city.
Right.
After seeing his face, like, 55, like, I don't know if I can swear, but, like, after, like, seeing it 55 times in the city, like, you just naturally just know who he is and know who his name is. Like, I think that's powerful.
Everybody knows who he is. Yeah.
But getting, like, a couple of billboards here and there, I don't think that. What he does, I do think there's some respect to that, but elsewise, I don't see it.
So, like, in other words, like, it works if you go big. If you're just doing, like, 1 or 2, like, probably not going to work.
Yeah.
But if you can really have your face everywhere, it's kind of just going to get in your head over time. Like, oh, go on.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure my mom doesn't care about real estate at all and probably knows who she is, like, or knows who he is. Like, it's just that power.
With social media, there's, like, a rule. If they see your face, I think it's 7 times or something, they'll remember you when they think of real estate. So, like, Instagram stories, super good for that. People are always stuck on their phones all the time. So for the older audience, I'm on Facebook as well. So everything from my Instagram goes on my Facebook stories. So they're constantly looking at me, and, like, I've had people that are connected with my Instagram and Facebook be like, "Hey, I'm selling a home. I thought of you immediately," because they would just naturally go on my stories and see I'm doing real estate related stuff. So every single day they're seeing my stories. So it's, you're right. Like, the billboards and the bus benches, those create brand awareness. If he gets in your head 7 times, you're going to think of him as a real estate agent. Yeah. But the thing is, people are like this now all the time. They're not looking at the billboards, maybe when they're driving. But then once we get the Teslas that are self-driving, they're going to be like this. Right. So it's I think it's heading in that direction. Right. But right now, great for brand awareness. Yeah.
Plus he has the money for it, right? He can pay for it and toss it up there. Whereas, if you're starting out or like yourself,
Instagram
pumping content out for free.
Yeah, exactly.
You can still hit that 7 by doing that.
Exactly. I don't got the money for, like, 30K billboards yet, but
you do it for Tesla, but not that.
I got the money for the Tesla, not the billboard. But yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. We can do a shout out. You want to give a shout out to the team?
Oh yeah, I forgot we had a team. Yeah. So could I do it to the camera?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, so thanks for having us on. This is Milena Simsic and Clark Galley from the Win Social Realty team. If you need any help in your buying and selling needs, feel free to visit us. My Instagram is at Milena Simsic. Like, just search my name, you'll find our team and everything. Yeah, Clark and I are super good with investors. We also do single family homes. So you need anything in the Windsor market, we're your experts here. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
Really appreciate it.
Cool.
Thanks for coming on.